want to take you to the theater, and we all know which movie we're here to talk about. What I want to ask you is, did you go by yourself that night or with some people?
No, I went with Jonathan Blunk, my boyfriend.
When did you guys decide to go to that movie?
Well, we had kind of been talking about it months in advance and then totally forgot, and the morning of, he reminded me that Batman was premiering that night, so we basically made the decision that morning.
What did you do leading up to getting to the theater that night?
I woke up and it was my day off, so I hung out with my roommate, Angela, for a while, and then we went to the movie theater around 11 a.m. and we bought our tickets, and then I think we just ran some errands, and John had to work that day. He'd been working a lot, and he got off work
Objection, Your Honor, 401, 403.
Ask the next question, please.
Yes, sir. What time did you guys end up getting to the theater?
Around 9:30.
Why so early?
We wanted to find good seats.
Were you able to find good seats?
Yes, the movie theater didn't, there was still a lot of options.
Not that crowded when you got there?
I wouldn't say not that crowded, but there were definitely enough empty seats.
Did you grab any concessions or anything before you went in?
Yes. Well, I think we went in and got our seats first, and then we went out and got concessions: popcorn, a cherry Coke, and sour punch straws.
You remember that with pretty good detail.
Yes.
Why?
Because it's what we got every single time we went to the movie theater together.
Had you been to that theater before?
Yes.
Had you been inside the actual theater number 9 before to see a movie?
I think it's very possible, but I can't know for sure.
Understood. Thank you. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 4855 and a blank exhibit, which is People's 1181. Let me ask you first about 1181. Does that look to you to be an accurate representation of the seat layout of theater number 9 back on July the 19th and 20th of 2012?
Yes.
Now, there's nothing on it right now, but do you see the seats that you and Jonathan picked out after getting there so early that night?
Yes.
Is there a pen up there?
Yes.
Do me a favor, and would you please indicate where you and where Jonathan were sitting?
Okay.
Did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Do me a favor, and somewhere in that big white margin around there, would you write your name and today's date?
Yes.
Did you know anybody else that was around you when you were sitting in the theater?
Not at the time.
What did you end up doing while you were waiting for the movie to start?
We were playing on our phones a little bit. I was sitting on John's lap. We had been just like talking and flirting, waiting for the movie to start. He tried to take a quick nap. We were just hanging out.
Now you say we, and we've talked about Jonathan. I want you to take a look at People's Exhibit 4855.
Okay.
What is that a picture of?
That's a picture of Jonathan Blunk.
Is that the way he looked back on July the 19th and 20th of 2012?
His hair was a little longer, but yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to move for the admission of People's Exhibit 4855 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, it is admitted and it may be published.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am? Is that Jonathan Blunk?
Yes.
Is that who you went to the movies with back then?
Yes.
And when you say we, you're talking about you and this man up here?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So the movie starts. Does anything unusual happen while you're watching the movie?
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
There was a canister that was thrown from, if you were looking at the screen, from the right-hand corner of the screen. I didn't realize at the time someone was standing there, but it was obvious when the canister was thrown that someone had been standing there, and it flew up in the air over our heads and smoked the entire time it was in the air. and then there was loud booms and flashes of light.
Let me do this with you. Take a look at 1181. Could you indicate on there where the canister came from on that?
Yes.
And I just put an S with a circle around it. Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit People's Exhibit 1181 into evidence.
Do you want to take a look at it?
Oh, yeah, forgive me, Your Honor. I've
That's
done that
fine.
every time. Sorry. Ma'am, can I get that from you? Thank you.
Any objection, Ms. Spengler?
No objection.
All right, without objection, it is admitted.
With the court's permission, I'd like to have you come down here and talk us through the action of what took place after this canister was thrown. Your Honor, is
Yes.
that okay?
Yes, that's okay.
Ma'am, would you grab that microphone for me?
Yes.
And you got to push the little thingy up on it to make it light up. Button. Got it. Okay. First, I should ask you, does this look like sort of the 3D version of that Exhibit 1181 that we just had you draw on?
Yes.
For this jury here, would you point to the seats where you and Jonathan Blunk were sitting?
Yes. Like right here.
Okay. And you're pointing to these. They're not on the end. They're two in from the right end as you face towards the screen?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember who was sitting where?
Yeah, I was in this seat, and John was in this seat.
Jonathan Blunk was to your left
Yes.
as you face the screen.
Yes.
Okay. Now, point to where you remember seeing the canister thrown from.
Up here.
You said up on the stand that you didn't see a person at first. Did you ultimately see someone down there?
Yes.
Describe for us what you saw.
Well, you could just see the outline of someone because only when there were flashes of light.
We'll talk about the flashes of light in a minute. This canister that's thrown, do you have some sense of where it landed?
I thought it landed somewhere back here because it kind of flew over our heads. I watched it.
Okay, and you've just demonstrated with your head watching it go from the right to the left back?
Uh-huh.
Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. You said it was smoking the whole time.
Yes.
What kind of smoke? Like cigarette smoke?
Well, I am not very familiar with, like
Smoke?
gun smoke, but it smelled like fireworks, like gunpowder stuff.
This is a good time to ask you this. At the time that you see this canister thrown with the smoke coming out of it, are you scared?
Objection 401, 403.
Overruled.
No, I was confused. I thought it was a prank. I thought it was fireworks.
Now, your voice trailed off there at the end, so let me loop that back in. You said you thought it was a prank. What do you mean?
I thought teenagers were throwing fireworks in the movie theater. I kind of shook my head, like, oh, I can't believe teenagers are throwing fireworks.
Did Jonathan react the same way?
No, he did not.
What did he do?
He immediately grabbed me and said, Jansen, he pushed me down behind the seats in front of us and said, Jansen, we have to get down and stay down.
Now, tell this jury with your finger, show them, where did he push you down to in there?
He pushed me right here to begin with, and then immediately after that started pushing me underneath the seats. So I was laying flat underneath the seats, and he was on my left side.
Now, are these seats that typically flip up, when you get out of them?
Yes.
And you said he was trying to shove you underneath them?
Yes.
Was he successful?
I feel like he was, yes.
You're pretty small.
Yeah, I felt like I was pretty far under there, but I kept trying to, nudge further up in the stair.
Why were you doing that?
Because I was feeling like sprinkles of gravel landing on, there was some that landed, around my face and neck, and then some that landed on my left side.